Chad became a legend at Bravo 439 for this next story that he's about to tell. So let's go into it, Chad. Why don't you tell the
Yeah,
folks why you're a legend?
our next big one was probably right before Red Phase, or just right as we were moving into it, or right before. But we had this one guy. I won't say his name because he clearly had something like mentally wrong with him. He had a couple of screws loose, or something, whatever you want to say. I don't even know how he got in the army, but we find out that he was. I find out later. This is much later that he was discharged from the Air Force for. They only said medical reasons. I'm assuming it was probably more along the lines of psychological medical reasons,
Yeah, no kidding.
and that's just an assumption on my part. But uh, at I first heard about him at the when we first got off the bus, when we first meet in our drills. You know, you're getting the shark attack kind of situation or whatever. But he accused one of the drill sergeants of trying to touch his,
Dangly bits.
his dangly bits, or his, genital area. And I can assure you, the drill sergeant was not trying to do that. But he somehow got in his head that that was, and they had to send him off to medical for a while. And they sent him off with another Air Force guy that I knew, and they somehow both got assigned to my bay and my platoon. So I was like, "Yay, Joel!" So, and if you know anything about being in a barracks or a bay, you have to have two people on fire guard, which one person watches the door, and one person usually is cleaning the bay, mopping, sweeping, cleaning toilets, something like that, while the other one's guarding the door. And you usually switch turns at some point.
Mhm.
But uh, if you have that, you have that. And then if you have anybody that's on suicide watch or psych watch or whatever they're calling it now, you have to have an additional two up for each person. So our bay always seemed to get like what I'd call the rejects, or the people trying to drop out of the army, or the people who claimed that they were feeling suicidal to be chaptered out of the army. So we always had like almost like eight. Like we always usually had about anywhere from 4 to 8 guys always on guard duty or whatever. And he would just do weird things. There are signs. I said he would just do weird things. He would just be sit up in his bed staring at people in the middle of the night. He would throw his sheets over his body and then lay flat as a board, like looking like he was a body in the morgue. Kind of terrifying. The more I think about it, like retrospectively. But he would just do just odd things like that, and then he would just be like cleaning the bay like randomly, like in the kill zone. Which, if you know what the kill zone is, it's just a giant square that's a different color from the rest of the floor in your barracks or your bay, and you're not allowed to go in there. The drill sergeants will come in and tell you, "Do not go into the kill zone. Nobody is allowed in the kill zone, and they will smoke you if you go in the kill zone." But he would just be in the kill zone cleaning. We're like, "Dude, get out of the kill." Everyone's all these kids like, "Dude, get out of the kill zone." And I'm just like, guys, I don't worry about it. I don't think we're gonna get smoked because the guy that's probably being chaptered out of the army is in the kill zone. So I don't know. He just finally, just one day, he just started like he put on his uniform and sneakers, like we were going out to do like
Combatives.
combatives,
Yeah.
and I just thought that was odd because we were all in our PTs, because they're still, the people who are getting out of the army have to still wear whatever we're wearing. So if we're in our fatigues or our uniforms, or OCPs, whatever you want to call them, they have to be in them. And if
Mhm.
we're in our PTs, they have to be in them. They basically still match what we do, just they don't have to do any of the physical stuff or any of the punishments or anything. And he was just loading his pockets of his uniform full of stuff. I just like, at this point, he's been living with it so long. He's like, that's weird, but not weirder than anything else he's ever done. But just like, hindsight, looking back on it now, you kind of catch on to what he was doing. Just like, and we're all in our PTs, and we're like, come on, dude, it's time to go to chow. And he's like, oh, I'm supposed to be meeting with with one of the sergeants or the commander. And we're like, oh, okay. And then one of the drill sergeants comes in and sees what he's doing, and he looks at him. He's like, "Trainee, what the fudge are you doing?" He's just like, "I'm supposed to be meeting with the commander." Or one of the drill. He kept changing. This is the other thing. He kept changing who it was. He said like he's supposed to be meeting with them. He's like, And the drill sergeant like, well, they're not here right now. So get on your PTs and go to chow with everybody else. They'll be back later. And he just like, he kept arguing with him, and finally he just literally looked at me and my buddy O'Neill. He convinced him. He was like, fine, don't have to get any PTs, but go to chow. They're leaving for chow right now. You need to eat. So he tells him, he looked at me and O'Neill's like, watch him. Wherever he goes, you go. And it was like, yes, drill sergeant. I was like, it was like, crap. So we go over to chow. He tries to like sneak away at chow. Like I said, not leave. Like I said, we're just like looking at him and go, dude, come on. And he goes to chow. We all go to chow and eat. And we're making our way back. And we go back.
Hold on, could I ask you a question? How did he try to sneak away before he went to chat? Like, what was he doing? Like, just like shimmying off onto the road or something?
He was in line in front of us, and all of a sudden he just walked out. And like I said, we kind of just watched him at first. And like I said, finally we just both looked, and as soon as we started walking after him, he came back in. So it was very weird. So I don't know if somebody turned him around or what. It was just very odd because the chow line. You're not allowed, and once you get out of place in chow line, you're done. You don't get to eat chow anymore. So we came back in, we ate, we're going back over, no issues, and then we're going up to the barracks, and your platoon, you weren't there, but I said, but first platoon, somebody smuggled in like a entire jug or tub of peanut butter, which where they got it, and I assume they had to get it mailed because, we only have those little peanut butter packets at the chow hall.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this dude got this, but he had an entire tub of peanut butter, and of course, your drill sergeants find it and freak out, and so first platoon gets the entire company evicted. Which eviction, for anyone who doesn't know, is you literally just carry all your crap, all your stuff. I mean, every belonging,
everything that's in your locker, you take it out.
So
put it in your duffel, you carry it out.
At this point, we have our IOTVs, which is our body armor.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody's coming out. They're wearing their body armor. They've got their rucksack on their back. They got their assault pack on their front. And they've got their two duffels. And everyone's, penguin walking out because this is so hard. Yeah. And for some people, they actually had to bring their beds and cots out for some people. Like I said, which we didn't always have to do that, but it was a weird thing. Some people had to do it. I don't know why. I guess it was people who were really in trouble.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, that was mainly something that happened at Alpha Company, because that's what they always talked about all the time. We had to take our beds outside. Just like I said, well, good for you, losers.
Yeah, sucks to suck, Alpha Company.
Yeah, but we're all getting evicted. So everyone's and at this time this just happened. So we're all getting our stuff out, and the kid just starts like having like panic attack, and he's running around the bay, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. So I just yell at O'Neill like, O'Neill, you watch the back door. I'm going to watch the front door of the bay. And so just make sure he doesn't leave. And so I'm watching the front one, and eventually he's just running around the kill zone like crazy. And I said, nobody's paying attention because everybody's pissed because we're all unloading all of our stuff except for me and O'Neill. And he finally goes up to O'Neill, and O'Neill, I think he kind of manages to like calm him down. And he's like, hey, I just need to talk to the commander. Freaking out. And we're just like, and both are just like, dude, the commander's still not here. We don't know where he's at, but there's a drill sergeant out on the CTA right now. Why don't we go out to the CTA and go talk to that drill sergeant? He'll talk to you. And he's like, yeah, that'll work. We think we've calmed him down. So O'Neill and him start heading for the door, and I kind of get caught up behind because I can't go in the kill zone. I get kind of caught behind somebody who's coming out with all their stuff. And I'm like, O'Neill, just stay with him. I'm right behind you. And I'm trying to catch up the entire time. And I finally catch up to him. And I don't know if anything was said. I never really asked. But as soon as they get outside and I'm right behind him, I enter the door, he just starts to freak out, spaz out, and takes off running. And O'Neill grabs him once, and he manages to shake him off. This kid was wiry. He was wiry and fast. Said, but I guess the crazy one's probably always
yeah.
Said, but tries to grab him. He grabs him twice, and he still manages to break his grip or whatever, and he takes off running over the hill, over to that road, by the Drill Sergeant Academy. Yep. And he starts taking off down the road, down towards the Drill Sergeant Academy, and just down that street.
Question: do you have rifles at this time?
Yeah, we have our M4s, and we're chasing. Here we are at a complete disadvantage. We're running after him with our M4s and all this. going as fast as we can, and we just take off running after him, and we almost catch him like a couple times, but he is lightning fast. I mean, lightning fast, and O'Neill's not slow, and I'm not slow by anything. I'm not the fastest dude in the world, but we could not catch this kid, and he was just lightning quick. And eventually, I said, we get probably, I don't know, like quarter mile, half a mile down the road. And I'm just like, it's like, how far? And he just, O'Neill, how far do we keep going after him? Just like, I go, you're right. I go, you stay here and keep eyes on him. Just kind of keep pace with him. I'm going to go grab drill sergeants and I'll be back. So I take off running back to the CTA.
Now, hold on. Did anybody see you guys take
No,
off?
this happened as we are at the side of the building, on our side. They said, you were first platoon. I said, we're on the opposite side
where you
by the
go
road.
up the hill by the road. So,
Exactly.
But nobody who was like carrying their
Nobody
bags
was
out
out there. Nobody was out there at this time. Everyone was. This is literally everyone is still gathering up all their equipment and outside. So it's just me and him out there, and we're chasing after him. So finally, I just turn around and I go, I'm gonna go back and get a drill sergeant. You just keep eyes on him. I go, you don't have to run with him anymore. Just keep eyes on him. And I take off running back to the CTA as fast as I can. And
about how far did you have to run?
I said probably about somewhere between a half mile and a quarter of a mile. That's all I can say, because we didn't know how far, because we had passed the drill sergeant academy. At this point, we're like, how far do we keep going? So we take off. I take off back, and first platoon's out there getting a big old lecture from Drill Sergeant Montez. And I come running up, and if anybody knows, you're not supposed to say the drill sergeant's last names. You just call them drill sergeant. But I am so tired, and I come sprinting over that hill, sprinting onto the CTA, and so you just see a bunch of people just, all the first platoon guys just staring at me like a crazy man. I'm just like trying to get my breath, like, Drill Sergeant Montez, Drill Sergeant Montez. And you see him, and I was like, see him, he's out there, arms crossed, and he's like, also turns, looks, he's like, what? Like I said, and it was just so matter-of-factly. It's just like, it was like, Drill Sergeant, Trainee, I said, Trainee so-and-so took off. He's bolting. He's running away. And all of a sudden I said his name, and he just goes, I won't say his name, but he just looks at me, and he's the most, like, straight face you could ever be. Like, who the is Trainee, name, blank, name redacted. And I just, and he just said it. So, matter of fact, if I hadn't been so tired or out of breath, I probably would have laughed. But I said, he's one of the non-trainees. He's one of the ones getting, he's one of the non-trainees. And he goes, ah! So that told him everything he needed to know. And he immediately goes running inside to go get the keys and other drills. So I'm just kind of sitting there waiting, because I'm trying to see if they want me to go with them or what. And so they're going inside to get the truck keys to the vehicles. And like I said, I'm waiting there. And then all of a sudden, two drill sergeants come running out the side door. And they go looking around, looking at me, and they go, Where did he go? And I just go, well, I guess I'm going. So I took off running. I go, he ran towards the Drill Sergeant Academy. So I go sprint to catch up with these drill sergeants, who are at least like, maybe about 40, 50 yards in front of me. So I'm sprinting to catch up with them. And I yell, my battle buddy's got eyes on. Sure enough, we catch up to O'Neill. And they're like, where is he? And they go, he ran that way, because O'Neill had finally lost him at this point. Mm-hmm. And so we go running down there, and then all of a sudden, after we get, I don't remember how far we probably ran another like half mile, maybe further. And out comes the drill sergeants and the trucks. There's two trucks coming down the road, and they're like, tell those trainees to go back. So then one of the drill sergeants turned around and goes, yeah, you two can head back to the CTA. And we're like, done. So it's like, we go back, and we just walk back, because at this point, we're both pretty exhausted at this point. And, oh, and it didn't help. I think we got smoked after chow too, so we were pretty tired. So we come back, and we just kind of, everybody's getting evicted still, so everyone's still slowly making their way out. And Drill Sergeant Viejas is sitting on the drill sergeant stand now. She's in charge of the formation, and we just kind of just sit up there by the drill sergeant stand, just kind of stand there. She just kind of looks at us, doesn't really say anything, because I'm pretty sure she's clued into what's going on. And I'm just like, so do we go get evicted, or do you think we should just stay here? And he's like, let's just stay here. So I'm just like, I'll go ask the drill sergeant real quick. And he's like, no, don't say anything. I'm just going to ask him, drill sergeant. And I had a plan. I'm just like, drill sergeant, do you want us to go pull out all of our stuff and get evicted, or would you rather us stay here in case we need to give statements or anything to the MPs or anything? She's like, that's a good idea. You stay right there. I was like, boom. So here we are. Our entire company's getting evicted except for me And we're just ecstatic about that. So that was the good thing that happened about that. That was the only good thing that happened
Yeah.
about that. But they ended up finding him, and he went to the MP station for a while, but he eventually came back to our company for a while until I think eventually they chaptered him out. But there was another slightly funny story that happened with that. Like I said, when they finally thought that we had lost him for good, one of the dudes in our bank comes in and yells, "So and so is gone!" And I looked at him, I go, "Bro, he's right there." And he's like, and then he Larry looked at me, he goes, "Oh." Because, dude, everybody was so sick of being on, suicide watch at this point towards the end that, everybody was just done. So, yeah, that was one of the funny things. So and so is gone. I mean, at the top of his lungs. And I go, "Bro, he's right there." And just see him, he turns and looks at him, and he just literally does this little, like, cartoonish little, like that. And I was like, oh my God, this is something you would see in a movie. Oh my God, it was ridiculous. But yeah, that's how I got unintentionally, like, infamous or famous on Fort Jackson. Which, like I said, he's the kid that ran away is more famous than me. Everyone knows him. I'm just the guy that chased him down.
Yeah. That's good stuff.